Hello, Nomads, and welcome to episode 23 of the Nomads of Fantasy podcast. My name is Brandon. I am the host, and I'm also here with Eric.
Hello.
Is that a question?
I don't know why I looked at you like I never met you before. Why did I ask a question? And who else am I here with? Dave. What's up, Dave?
Hello, everybody. My name's Dave, and I love vampires.
Vampires have been pretty hot lately. We just did Castlevania. Now we're watching this, and we're getting into... we're in early October at the time of this recording, so it's like 'tis the season.
It's a very creepy season. There's been a lot of vampires, though, going on between Dracula and...
Well, we've been actually playing the Castlevania games because the show Castlevania was based off the games, so it's kind of like just ongoing. Yeah, but anyways, so we watched Interview with a Vampire, the movie that came out in 1984, which is based off of a series
94.
of books. What did I say? 84? I'm sorry, 94. Yeah, and actually, I think it holds up. I'm going to throw that out there right now. I was kind of expecting a movie that dated itself, and I took no issue with seeing this movie from 1994 and watching it in 2021 and be like, well, that really aged poorly. I think it actually has aged well.
Yeah.
Maybe your reaction there, Eric, kind of teases how you feel about this. So let's hold off real quick. Just real quick, let's just catch up. Let's go with you, Dave. What have you been doing? Watching anything cool lately? Playing anything? You've been working on your Castlevania games?
Yeah, still chugging away through Lords of Shadow, getting through a couple of the bosses, still feeling that old school God of War character action pull. So that one's fun. Had to turn down the difficulty at a certain point because I don't have time to waste grinding my face into a wall of a meat shredder of a end boss. So I just felt a little bit of shame when they the tier down from Warrior is Squire. So there's a little bit of I don't know, to take up a little bit of my pride when I have to turn it down to Squire level. It's sad, but I put it back up. But Lords of Shadow is good. We all got together. We didn't play a ton of it, but we all got together and played Castlevania Harmony of Despair.
Yeah, we did. That was fun.
Old 360 game.
Yeah, it was fun.
And it looks to be like, it's your standard Castlevania, but you can have up to 4 players play in your...
No, more. Isn't it like
6?
I think it was 6 or 8.
Oh, damn.
I forget, but it was definitely more than 4. Yep.
It's so cool because at any given time you can zoom out and see the entire castle, the whole level that you have to beat. And there's a clock. And yeah, it's this co-op version of OG 2D platforming Castlevania.
Which was really fun because you can kind of just wander off. Like you guys can go that way and I can go this way. And, a little bit you have to probably coordinate on some of the bigger bosses and stuff like that. But
well, it's nice because if one person goes off, it's all shared loot. So everybody gets, whenever one person gets a chest, everybody gets whatever's in that chest. So one person can go off exploring to, this hallway and pick up the loot and everything. And everybody will get everything that they pick up. And then, it really, your main goal is just to get to the boss at the end of the level and defeat the boss. And we only beat the first level. That game is kind of tough.
It's tough. It's tough in a good way. Like, I didn't feel like the game was being unfair. I get the hook here. We just have to kind of learn through some trial and error, which is kind of how NES old school games were, right? You had this one game and there's no online, maybe co-op. And it was kind of hard on the first level because you kind of get your money's worth out of that thing, right? So I think that it works well. Honestly, a lot of it works well. The online co-op, playing it is this an Xbox exclusive?
no, I think it's just got added to Game Pass.
It's not exclusive to Xbox. It was initially released on 360 and PS3, but one thing to note was that the online co-op was exclusive to the Xbox version.
I'm just saying, I think it's cool that I can play in 2021 on my Xbox One.
Yep.
That 360 game with you guys, because not all games from another generation can do online co-op still, and I think that
one thing that's crazy. I can't imagine not playing that co-op.
Yeah,
it took a minute to figure out because you still have to.
If everybody's sitting on the couch,
Yeah, definitely. There's
true.
there is a single player
Yeah,
mode.
if you're playing couch co-op though, like
Which
if
is
you
weird.
said PS3 didn't have online, like everybody, do you split it into 4 corners, or is everybody on the map and it just zooms out? Basically, I don't know how that would work, but
Right.
that seems way less cool. But yeah, that one was cool. I like that.
Hmm.
I'd like to get a bit more of that in. I didn't really do too much else. I played a little bit of Unsighted, but Brandon, you can talk about that because you played a lot more than I did. And then just been building my NES Lego set, which is taken like 4 months now, trying to put together. And watching a lot of Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors, catching up on. There's like 30-ish episodes of that, which is kind of insane, but it's pretty cool how you see like they do a War of the Worlds episode, or they do a Shining episode, or they do like
I
a
love
little
it.
bit of
Yes.
each and kind of everything. So you could see like they did an episode with like
That's all
Yeah.
on Disney
Oh,
Plus
yeah.
now, right?
an episode with like early 3D where they were just like you can tell they're just screwing around, like burning some budget, making some 3D homers and stuff like that. So just getting in the season.
Dave, yeah, what was the one where? Remember man, back in the day when I was really into Simpsons, they had this one Halloween episode where Homer ends up in the real world, and it was like a portal.
Yes, that's the 3D episode.
Is that the one you're talking about? Okay, yeah, that I haven't thought about that episode.
He walks through a wall in his house and goes into 3D world. Yeah. Bart goes to get him, and Bart gets pulled back, but Homer goes in the pit, and he comes out in the human world, and then it ends. That's the end of the episode. But
Okay,
yeah, there was like a Twilight Zone episode where Bart's on the bus, and it's got the gremlin on the outside
Yes.
that's destroying the bus,
Nice.
which is like
oh
that
my god, I gotta
old
watch a marathon. of
Twilight
these.
Zone episode with. There's so many of them though. It's crazy, but
Dad, you killed Zombie
that's-
Flanders. He was a zombie. I was like, whoa, this is dark. I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, we'll let the kids watch that. So it's fun. Everybody loves it. How about you, Eric? What you got?
I played a little bit more Deathloop. I don't have much else to say about it other than I'm still enjoying it. I only played, I don't know, another hour or so of it. Some more Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Still into that. I beat Dracula on the first Castlevania game, so that was fun. I tried out a little bit of Simon's Quest. Couldn't really get into it just because it's so obtuse and I had no fucking clue where to go. So I shut that off pretty quick.
Definitely need a guide for
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
You get a guide, or you don't even bother playing that one.
You got to be in the mood to do exactly what Dave said. You got to just want to experience it. with a guide.
I at least wanted to pick it up and boot it up and just see it, try it out and play around with it. So
Sure. Good music.
I played that for a little bit, and then I just keep going down the line. Went to Castlevania 3, and like Dave was saying a couple weeks ago, he was exactly right. Like it's exactly the same as Castlevania 1. Like they did Simon's Quest, they did a little experiment with it, and then after that they like reverted right back to the original formula, which I thought was really
Same
fun.
UI, same everything. It's like
Same
kind of like
everything.
Mario.
Yeah,
Mario 2 was like
you're right.
Doki Doki. And then they went right back
Yep.
to what works, tried and true.
Yep, the American version, anyways. Let's see what else. Oh, something we all played together was a little Halo Infinite. A little bit of that test flight over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
Yep.
That was fun.
And I had a fucking blast. As
I had a
classic
blast,
Halo
too.
fan who was
Yep.
there. Dude, it felt good. It looked good. Man, talk about the Sonic shit happening, right? Where like you think you made what they want, and then you put it in front of them, and they're like, yeah, we're cool with all that you're doing, but the look is a little bit, and they put it back in the oven, and I don't know. I was impressed after like the first couple matches. I was like, this feels good. And I still played Halo 5. So I mean, I'm still like into Halo too. So I as a Halo fan, I thought it felt good.
Yeah,
And looked good.
my prime experience with Halo is I played a lot of the first one back in the day, like online and through the story campaign. That's the main one that I played. A little bit of 2 and 3 at like friends' houses and stuff, but like I think they nailed the mechanics in Halo Infinite, just from what I played. Like they modernized it, but in a way that still feels like the original Halo, especially with the maps and like the modes and everything. Like, it still feels like Halo, even though they modernized the controls.
A warthog going against a banshee, and then like the way they made the map, that one map where everything just kind of kept going into each other, but there's like jumps.
Yep.
The attention to the gameplay. They understand their guns, right? And they thought the guns felt really good. I thought the sound sounded great, but I appreciate how I don't know. They had all these cool choke points. I just felt like there's always like an opportunity to go somewhere else. And it's 12 against 12, which is 24 people on this highly designed, like, well, I don't know. I thought it was well done. The balance was good.
Yeah, they had those like larger scale maps, and then like some of the smaller scale like 4-on-4 death matches also. We played a couple of those, and those were fun. But yeah, like you said, like the first match that we played, I literally, the first thing I did was hop in a ghost, and I was just riding around, and I got like 10 kills right off the bat.
You were kill spree.
Just wrecking everybody. I'm like, this just feels great and fun. And like, normally I'm not really a first person shooter guy, and I'm not very good at them. But
there's so much more.
Yeah.
For Halo shoot, because it's not just being. You can have a sword. You can stick a plasma grenade to somebody's back and watch them run away and explode 2 seconds later. I don't know. And the vehicles.
Yep. And if you're not good at the shooting part, you can do some of the other modes like capture the flag or the domination style, and like just go for the objectives.
Oh, capture the flag's fantastic.
Yeah, capture the flag's so fun. Like I don't know. I just had a great time with it, and like it's so cool to look forward to because we know that multiplayer is going to be free to play for everybody, which is just insane. So I'm really looking forward to that.
All that.
Yep. So that comes out in the summer. So
I'm used to playing Call of Duty, and just the speed of the combat throws me off. Where Halo, you got the shields to deal with, and you got to put people down. And I guess Duty, if you're playing Warzone, you got like the armor that you got to deal with on people. But it's the pace of combat is different, which is definitely an adjustment to deal with. Where like you empty a full clip out on somebody, you should be getting in close to either gun butt them or switch guns and finish them off with a handgun. Yep. Whereas
you got to think of it as combos in a first-person shooter, Dave.
Yeah,
where like, you know what I'm saying? Where like you can use the plasma pistol, charge it, go around the corner, hit them. It drains the shields. I'm such a geek. And then you can either get really close and punch them, one punch and they're dead, or you can unload your pistol, aim for the head, or if it's if it's assault rifle, just unload on them, or chuck a grenade or shotgun, needler, and they're all based in like certain ranges, certain guns. So you got to know the move. You got to make your play.
Yeah, and the ranges is a definite thing too. Especially
Call of Duty's going to be, I see you first, so you're
exactly.
dead.
That's what
Halo's like, you can get attacked from behind.
Yep.
You still have a chance because, like, motherfucker, you could have got my shields down, but, throw a grenade and run away, and then you got to let your shields come back, get your shotgun out, wait for the corner. There's so many moves you can do. Halo is its own beast. I'm glad that you brought that up, though, like, because it just reminds me.
Well, Halo, you got to, like, learn the maps. And once I started to learn the maps, I started to figure things out a little more because you got to actually know where the guns are in Halo rather than Duty, where you just pick your loadout and I know I'm good with this gun, so I'm just going to use this gun and just go mow people down or
I think that's what
it's just an adjustment. But
I think that's why I had such a better time with it than I would have had with something like Call of Duty, because it's not all about like whoever's the best shot is going to win. Like, it's about strategy. Like you said, Dave, it's about knowing where the guns are. Like, you have to be kind of scrappy in Halo.
It's a team game.
Yeah. You have to work together.
You got to be scrappy.
I'm not fast
enough. You got to have
like,
teammates.
Twitch
that
shooters.
Makes it more fun.
The Twitch shooters are like tough now because all the young kids are playing and their brains aren't all clogged down with malted hops at this point, like me. So I'm just a little slower for those Twitch shooters. But it was fun. Yeah,
I had a great time.
The vehicles added a bit. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the full release because they definitely still got some kinks to work out, just with the whole wrapping. But the gameplay was definitely shined through.
Is that November or December?
That's December 9th, I believe. So I have look forward to that in the future. Other than that,
nice.
I checked out. I think one of the nights after we were done playing Halo, I I just randomly had Dirt 5 downloaded on my Xbox because I think I downloaded a couple games that were enhanced
Okay.
for Series X and S.
Oh, really? Because that game looks good on my One X.
So
what does it look like?
It looks really good. And like, I wasn't really, for some reason, I know you were talking about it a while ago, Brandon, because you brought it up. But it was a lot more arcadey than I thought it would be. Like for some reason, I thought it was going to be more like simmy, like something more like, I don't know, Gran Turismo or the Forza Motorsport series. But it's definitely more towards like Forza Horizon, which I loved. Like, because you got that, you got the realistic graphics and everything, but the more arcadey racing. And it does have those options in there if you want to make it more simmy,
right?
To like, shift manually or have more realistic physics.
I guess
everything.
I leave it by default.
I left it default, and I was having a fantastic time. Like I feel like that's the perfect amount of like in between arcadey and realistic that and like Forza Horizon kind of rides that line, and I just love that type of racing game. So I was having a fantastic time with that.
I just think Dirt 5 has really good track design.
Yeah, it's fun.
I just enjoyed it. Like I can do 3 laps of this easily. Every level has its own look. Like you'll be in like the mountains of the Himalayas, like one point, and the next thing you're like on the beaches of Miami, or it's just crazy. Like but it's, I don't know. I thought that was really nice, and I like how they'll have weather effects. And the lighting, it might be.
It was really cool.
It might be high
There was
noon.
one map where I was racing through, and it started, like you were saying, it starts in like the daytime, and as you go through the map and do laps, like it progressively gets darker and darker. Like, and by the end of the race, it's night. It's nighttime. Cool. That was awesome.
Yeah. So Dave, I don't know if you dabble with some racers. I would say it's just easy to get into. I can see why the Dirt series in general has done well for such a knowing that Gran Turismo is out there, Mario Kart's out there, and Forza's out there. These are like the games that mostly attract a lot of the people to play racing games, and Dirt somehow does pretty well. There's a lot of games in the series, so you should check it out.
If you're looking for something like the Forza Horizon, but more of just like the racing instead of like that open world kind of driving around, I would definitely check out Dirt 5 because I was pleasantly surprised when I booted it up. I did I don't know.
The open world it's fun, but it's nice to just like pick races and go, or do like a series and stuff like that and go.
Yeah, in Dirt 5 you're just
that's
going through each event, and like you said, there's different types of events and everything with different like vehicle types. You got the rally cars, you got like the bigger trucks and stuff, and you're just doing these crazy jumps.
Does that have dirt bikes and stuff in it?
I think it's just cars. I could be wrong, but I mean, I played like an hour of it, but I want to say it's just like the dirt rally cars.
There's variety,
but yeah,
nice.
I probably will.
Sounds
that's something I'll probably just boot up. Like I said, after like if we get off like a multiplayer session and I just feel like playing something else for a little bit, I'll just boot that up and play a couple races. It's like the perfect thing for that. So
it's nice to have a little side game to just toss in. Like you only got like 20 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever. Played some Luminous this week just to,
that's like a perfect,
because I had a hard drive crash. So I'm down to a choice select few games on the internal drive. So Luminous made the cut. So that's like one of those quick ones you can just chuck in. But yeah, Dirt sounds cool. I think there's a couple of them on Game Pass too. So
they just added a bunch, and it makes me. It's so good. It's such a good series because I played the first one a little bit, the second one a little bit, and I played this fifth one. But I know there's all these other versions that's been throughout. So I do like that. Good job, Xbox, for getting that into the Game Pass.
Yep. What about you, Brandon? You got anything else for us?
I feel like our catch-up section right here is very different. We're all kind of all over the place. So Dave shared a link on Reddit, and one of the links in this post, it was basically like, what are some old websites or something, or useful websites? Yeah. And somebody threw out an old like PC games or whatever you could play through like your browser, you could download. I don't know. And then I kind of got sidetracked and I went and found DOSgames.com, and it's old DOS games. I had a computer in the early 90s and a Pentium 486, and it was a big
Fancy
deal.
lad.
Yeah, my dad said this is and I could play all these games in Windows off of DOS. So there was this era of my life as a gamer where I played DOS games. I mainly got the PlayStation Classic, or the little mini classic thing that kind of came out a couple years ago. Got it for $25 off Amazon because it had Destruction Derby on it, and I didn't know it was on PlayStation. But I remember loving that game, and that's I don't know. It was a cool game. It's still pretty cool actually. And anyway, so I'm on this DOSgames.com site, and it's just brings back so many memories of these games I played. There are games that you'll never see a sequel to. Maybe like I'm thinking Commander Keen kind of stuff, but like even more indie than that. Yeah, just like CGA graphics, and then going to VGA was like going NES to Super NES, but in PC terms. So it was just, I don't know, these old memories just started coming back a lot, like out of sleep or something like that, when I was looking at these old ass games that I used to play back in my early teenage years. But and then another thing, so I'm going to Disney with my family, so there's a good chance that you're going to hear an episode where Eric, I think, is taking the reins from me while I'm gone. But I'm going to be in Disney, taking my kids. I got a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Yeah,
and dude,
it's good times down there for kids.
So I want them to just know the characters and know we're just whatever, we're into this shit. So we're gonna go. We're watching all these Disney classics, and I gotta tell you, Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah,
I'm extremely impressed with the quality of the artwork. If you go and watch,
that's all the cell animation back
Sleeping
on too. That's crazy. Sleeping Beauty is,
but it's not
crazy.
Yes, the animation is stunning, especially in Snow White for 1938. But I was watching Sleeping Beauty, and the artwork, the background art to Sleeping Beauty is so amazing. And I kind of looked into the background of it, and I guess it was kind of a big deal. This guy kind of set a high standard for the rest of the team to kind of keep up with what he made. But it looks like indie games today. Like you'll see really artsy games, and it's like, oh wow, where did they come up with this look? I feel like this is the guy that came up with this look. It's very hard angles and geometric, but also detailed and well shaded, and the line work it looks like a modern day indie game that you would play with like a really good budget, kind of like Hades or something like that. And I just couldn't keep my eyes off of the how beautiful this movie was.
Oh, that's cool.
But I played some of that. Oh, go ahead.
No, have you seen The Sword in the Stone lately? That was one that I always liked the animation of as a kid. That one was good. Mm-hmm. It's got King Arthur and the wizard that turns him into different animals or whatever. That's always that underrated Disney one, but it's got to be in the 40s or 50s, I think.
Is it? Yeah, it might be. I think it might be later. I think that one's like 60s, 70s. Because I was just looking at the old movies that Disney made, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, and Pinocchio was like the next movie that Disney made after Snow White.
63, Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, that sounds right. You can tell by the style, or at least I am. Dude, I'm literally watching all these Disney old classic movies now. We also did like Beauty and the Beast and all that stuff. So I've been watching all these movies. So right now I'm like, I'm into it.
Disney overload.
But I gotta get ready, man. Got my fucking Disney Star Wars over. Yeah, bring it on. But anyways, yeah, you guys brought up Untitled. Real quick, that game has like this Super Nintendo kind of retro feel to it. I'm digging it. It's really fun. I think it has online co-op. I think I need you guys to help me. But it plays kind of like Hades, just not as slick, not as deep or as good, but it's like in that style. And it has like this loop to it. But we don't need to get into it. I got to spend more time with it, but I spent a couple hours with it, and I got far enough where I'm liking it. Actually, Game Pass dropped a lot of Sable or whatever. That's pretty cool. It's a little slow, but I'm digging the art style of Sable. I don't even want to explain it. Just look it up. It's interesting. But the one thing I want to talk about before I wrap up is Midnight Mass is on Netflix, and I watched it. This is the guy who made, was it House on Haunted Hill and whatever it is, Hill House or
Haunting of Hill House. Yep.
yeah, and he made another one, something Manor. Anyways, he came out with this show, and do you guys want me to spoil this in any way? Do you guys have any interest in watching this? Or
well, I loved Hill House and Bly Manor, so I would maybe check this out.
Okay, I won't. Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. I'll just say that he's really good at making a world real quick, making a mystery real quick, and how he executes it may or may not vibe with you. It's a shame I can't talk about this one on this episode for reasons, but I won't ruin it for you or anybody who hasn't caught up with it yet, because it is fairly new and I just crushed it. Acting's good. You know what? If you don't like the first couple episodes, I gotta tell you, the show really becomes what it's really about after you got to get halfway into it. So if you can tolerate the mystery and the characters in the world, and if you like, kind of give it a chance, I think you'll like the first 4 episodes, and then at that point, I think you're gonna either be like, "Oh, really? Or is this where we're going?" Or you're gonna be like, "Oh, really? Is this where we're going?" I'll tell you what, it'd be really cool if you guys do watch this show and follow up with me. I would like to hear, at least you, Eric, if you're into this stuff.
Yeah, I might check it out. What's it called? Midnight Mass?
Midnight Mass, yeah.
Okay.
What's it on?
Netflix. It's like 8 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested because I really like what
good
the guy's
acting,
done.
good visuals, good music, all that stuff. It's more of the story, and yeah, but I won't ruin it. That's it for me. Okay, let's talk about some vampires
again.
Let's take a break.
Let's get spooky.
Spooky. We are back, and we're man. What we were talking about between recording this and what we just recorded is
it's a sharp left turn. It's a sharp left turn.
Yeah. We're ready to talk some vampires, though. Actually, we're ready to talk about a movie that came out in 1994. It was called Interview with a Vampire. What are people saying about the movie?
A couple responses from Mi Familia, so thank you. We have my uncle Ken Goodman. He said, I enjoyed the movie, then read the book. As always, it was better. Tom Cruise, though not nearly as tall and not perfect, did Lestat justice. Dunst was incredible despite her young age, especially playing a disturbing adult character. I've read all of Rice's Lestat / vampire books. Interview is not the best of them. So that's interesting. My aunt Sheila said, I really thought this movie was creepy. The book was written way better than the script, which is interesting. A lot of high praise for the book. And my mom actually commented also, thanks mom, said, I definitely enjoyed the book more, but excited to hear a new generation's take on the movie.
A lot of vampire fans in the family. That's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some responses over on Twitter. Sadie Anders says, I find the Parisian vampires so interesting, a mix of hedonism, morality, and maybe a better grasp of humanity and artifice than those watching their play possess, which is an interesting point. Our buddy Jake Iveson says, love the movie. My mother was very into the Vampire Chronicles book series, so we watch this often. The acting is incredible. The story is very intense. Always loved Queen of the Damned also, even though it didn't have the same feels as Interview. And then our other buddy Chris Logan commented, said, this movie This movie defined vampires for me. And later, the books, when I went back and read them, I wish this creative team had been able to make a sequel. Also, Kirsten Dunst gave one of the best child performances in movie history.
Absolutely.
Completely.
I know Brandon is a big hater on child actors.
I am. I'm glad that you point that out because, like, yes, most of the time, kids are the worst actors in the movies I see. It's almost always. I'll get into it actually when we get into that. But yeah, that was, I agree with a lot of the points that people brought up. Because I have mixed feelings on this movie. I know you do, Eric. I know you made a comment before recording.
I think all of us do.
It's tough, man. But it's also, dude. We just watched Castlevania. That's a video game series that is about vampires, and we just watched the Netflix anime version of it, or at least the first 2 seasons. You guys are still playing the games. I ran through some of the games. I've watched some content outside that turns out to be vampire content, and now I just watched this movie real quick. I think I'm done with people sucking blood out of people's throats, the sound of something biting somebody's neck, blood,
over vampires.
I think I'm done with it, man.
You gotta get one of those. You gotta get one of those cool thumb ring stabby things.
I had to look away during this movie.
Thought we were gonna do Twilight next.
My vampires don't sparkle in the sunlight. That's all I know.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay, hold on,
Wait,
real quick.
I have one more surprise.
Vampires? Oh, okay.
I have one more surprise. So, okay, well, first of all, I'll just plug our social here. You can get us at Twitter at Nomads of Fantasy, and that's also Nomads of Fantasy on Instagram. But you can also contact us through our email address, which is nomadsoffantasy@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a surprise.
Uh-oh.
Well, other than my mom, which she was the first official email that we got. Thanks, Mom, again. We got our first official fan email.
Ooh. It's not a cease and desist or anything?
No, it is not.
Oh,
is it Dave's mom?
Don't get too excited. This is from Jessica. So if Jessica, or if Dave's mom's name is Jessica, this might be from her.
It's not. Huh.
And she simply says, "Hello."
Oh,
that's all.
Hi, Jessica.
That's it. Hi, Jessica.
Thanks for writing in.
Thanks for writing in. I hope
appreciate
you're doing
it.
Great. That's it.
I hope you like vampires. Cause...
No subject. It just says hello.
Oh, not even a subject either. Ooh.
No subject.
Well,
I know you don't want to read the email address, but are you sure this was not a bot?
This is from a Gmail account. I don't know. Jessica, if you're out there, if you're listening, hi. Okay. Thank you for listening.
Hello. Well, that's cool. Well, I hope it's real, and I hope we're not being. I don't know. I appreciate it. That's
right to the top of our shout out list.
Yep, Jessica, number one fan.
That's exciting as finding out who our sponsor is, which is my freaking when I threw my business name out. I mean, like that is it's very fitting. Man, being a new show, being a young show, is not tough, but it is hard not to pick on yourself, because we are growing. Like, I see the numbers, I see the downloads, and I appreciate everybody who has been going. And like, if you are telling other people, like, I dig it, man. And I know some people have been listening that have asked to be on the show, and I truly appreciate that. Honestly, I didn't think we would have more than 5 listens for each show, and we do get some numbers. And I don't know, whatever. I think it's fantastic. So if that email is real, that's cool. I don't care what you say. The fact that you
talk about Jess like that.
She's our number one fan.
Yeah, at this point, if you take the time to go to our website, go to the email and type that in and hit send, that's not hard to do. But there it is. That's the barrier. That's the line.
Also, reviewing 5 stars on Apple Podcasts as well. Same thing.
Very much
that would help us
appreciated.
out immensely. Appreciated immensely as well.
Yes, and also if you're one of us where you have a podcast and you're liking how we're doing it over here, please share feedback. Also, if you want to be on our show or ask one of us to be on your show, we're also into that. I'm definitely digging the podcasting community as I kind of hang out with these people and meet them and the things that I do. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody that just geeks out with us. I've gotten feedback where like, wow, you guys really know your shit. And I don't know if we do. I just think the type of guys we are, we just nerd out on stuff. Hence the name and the creation of this podcast. We just can't help geek out on some of the stuff that we watch or play.
Yeah, definitely. Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's get into some vampires, then let's fucking take a break from vampires. But
Let's talk about this one.
yeah, let's Eric, real quick, why don't you just, run us through what we just watched, and then we can kind of riff from there.
Sure. All right. Well, let's set it up here. So it starts out with something that was interesting. I feel like movies don't do this as often as they used to, is put the credits right at the beginning of the movie. Like they have this when they first started up, they have this nice tracking shot of San Francisco. And they run through all the cast, the director, producing, all this stuff. And I feel like movies don't do that as much nowadays, where they just have this nice tracking shot with some music and they have the rolling credits in the beginning.
That was a long ass.
That was
shot
something
too,
I
though.
noticed.
That was impressive just from the get go, out of just like standard cinematography, like the long ass shot that they put right in the beginning. Like I'm like, wow, there's a lot of extras.
It really
and a lot
sets
of work
the
went into this.
pace. Of a full, probably just over 2 hours, right? It definitely sets the pace of like, this is how the camera work is going to go for this movie.
It's funny that you mentioned cinematography, because it's actually won a BAFTA for best cinematography. So
okay, I'll believe it. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it won a couple of awards. It was nominated for a couple Oscars as well, best art direction and best original score. Didn't win, but was nominated. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it starts off that way. We're in modern day San Francisco. We track up to this apartment with Brad Pitt standing in the window, and then Christian Slater is also there, and he is the interviewer. And I like how they set the story up. I really like the story and the storytelling structure with the whole
Very
interview
cool
thing. Yeah. Definitely.
It's literally an interview. He is sitting down, hitting record, lighting up a cigarette, and asking him questions. And then Brad Pitt's like
Telling his story.
telling him his story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's full of exposition. Like, he's the narrator. He's the main character. It's his story. But yeah, it's cool. It's different, especially for vampires, man. It's just like the format meets the content. I thought it was very unique.
Now, maybe this doesn't matter, and maybe it was mentioned in the movie, but my question was, why is Christian Slater interviewing Brad Pitt, Louis' character, in the first place? Because he doesn't know he's a vampire to begin with. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I thought he asked him to be there. Like, he'd been watching him for a little bit, decided not to kill him, and then he decided to tell him his story, basically.
Gotcha.
Vampires can put you in a trance, right? And they can seduce you with their presence, I guess. I think that's what I've learned. Also, each vampire has its own ability, as we learn. So Brad Pitt is a one-of-a-kind vampire. At least it seems like it's alluded to that, because they all desire what it is about what makes him the kind of vampire that he has become. And I think one of his abilities, I don't know, is to get people to trust him. I think, because that's what he says. Like, I've been watching you, but here we are. So like, Brad Pitt's watching him. I don't know. Whatever.
He's the vampire with morals and a conscience. He's like, I don't know. He's still got that bit of humanity left to him.
Yep, he still has that. Yeah, a little bit of that humanity. Yep. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. I feel like I was confused about that in the beginning. But yeah, so they set it up as an interview. Like I said, I really like that storytelling structure. And then Louis gets into his whole life story of how he became a vampire, which it goes back to 1791 Louisiana. And Louis is a owner of a plantation, so he's pretty wealthy. But we learn that his wife and unborn child had just died. So he kind of doesn't really have any will left to live. Yep, died in childbirth.
So he died when they died, basically. So he's loaded with money, and he's got no will to live, and he just walks around aimlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Getting hammered and playing cards.
But he doesn't want to die, though. He just doesn't want to live, which is very interesting.
Right. He's not like trying to actively like kill himself or anything, but he's not afraid to die, because
you lack the courage of your convictions.
Right. He gets into
during the poker.
That's the line.
Hey, real quick, they were playing poker, and he threw down like a diamond.
Yeah.
And then the card next to it was like a spade, but there was no number. It was just, that was weird. It was like
there were aces. 4 aces.
Is that what it was? But it didn't have an A. I guess you just have to like go by the counting of.
No, is there? Oh yeah, that's true. But it's a single. An ace is a single. So one star, 1 diamond, or whatever is stars.
Yeah, I just didn't notice anything in the corner, and it threw me off.
I know that much.
Sure. Yeah.
They weren't according to Hoyle, no. But
yeah, Brett.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Young ass Brad Pitt is just like, I don't care to die. I'll die over this game. I don't give a shit. I just can't kill myself. You can kill me. So he kind of welcomes death whenever it falls upon him, because he's just like a drunk that's just loaded with money, just kind of sleeping with women and just living a lost, aimless, pointless life.
Yep. So on that same night, he's just walking along, and we get the impression that a vampire is stalking him, and that vampire happens to be Tom Cruise's character, whose name is Lestat. It's an interesting name. Which he hails from Paris, so maybe that's a common name over there. But and he basically just snatches him up and drags him, like they go flying into the sky, and he's just like,
I hated the scene.
It's a weird ass scene. Yeah,
I hated it.
It's the practical effects are tough sometimes, because you can tell that there's like a string pulling like 2 dudes up.
It
at certain
felt
points,
like that. It felt like a ballet began out of nowhere. And Tom Cruise is just like, I'm French? Yeah. Do I have to be French? You're Tom Cruise, and you're a big movie star. All right, I don't want to be French, but I'll have a French name, and I'll be French, but I'm not going to have a French accent.
No French accent, no.
He wasn't like, oh, Louis, would you like to be a vampire? He's just like... Fucking Tom Cruise, just speaking different. I don't know. I thought that was weird. I get maybe he's older than the French accent. I guess we don't really know his
He could have
age,
outgrew it. Whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
His name is kind of French sounding though. So whatever. It's a fucking.
One thing I thought from this, like the beginning, is when is the last time like all Tom Cruise movies are like action oriented now, like. This was a real acty kind of movie.
Oh yeah,
where everybody's getting into character and playing roles and stuff like that. And I don't remember the last time I've seen Tom Cruise not play like a super spy or action person or whatever. It's been a while. I'm sure like there have been more along the way, but because there's about 1 billion Tom Cruise movies at this point. But
that is one thing.
An acting role.
Yeah, that is one thing that I actually liked about this movie was Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt's acting. Like I feel like they really got into their characters. They had some great character acting, and I did kind of like lose myself in the characters. Like I could separate, like you got big movie star Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in these 2 main roles, but I could see them as Louis and Lestat instead of just Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Oh, yeah.
Like I thought they did a great job with the character acting.
That's a big jump in a lot of movies sometimes, is shaking off that this is Tom Cruise acting, or Paul Rudd is Ant-Man, but no, it's just Paul Rudd. it's tough sometimes. But
So, okay, now with the plot, right? Brad Pitt gets converted into a vampire at this point, which when do we get into vampire rules? Do you want to continue with the story real quick and we kind of talk about vampires rules or whatever?
I mean, we can get into it. We can get into it now.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just like the rest of the story basically is, Brad Pitt becomes a vampire, and he struggles with the morality of it. Where we learn that Letang,
Lestat.
What did I say? Letang? I'm sorry,
Letang.
Lestat. Yeah.
Letang.
Wow, Letang.
Defenseman for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Former.
Oh wow, good. Okay. Yeah, is that he?
I gotcha.
He doesn't have the morality of a human being. It's like he's so old that he's forgotten what it's like to be human. He just has fun with it. He enjoys.
He does what he wants. He just he treats them like playthings.
He's a jerk, and which is interesting because then we learn later on from other vampires that they meet, which is really hard to do. But when they finally do, after like a couple hundred years of Brad Pitt and whatever, he bumps into Antonio Banderas' character, and he learns about all these other vampires, and then they even say, you know what it is about you is that you still have morality. You still have, like, we're looking for purpose, and he still has, Brad Pitt's character still has, like, maybe not purpose, because he didn't really have purpose before he became a vampire, but he has this thing that he carries with him where, like, I don't want to die, and I still know what's good and bad. I know what's right from wrong. I still have morals, values.
Well,
I'm a good person.
There's a chunk in the middle.
I was going to say his purpose.
No, I know.
From,
I glossed over that on purpose, but I'm just saying. But overall, that's what that's what movie is about. He's being interviewed, and he's just we're learning about this. Now, there are some key characters, some key events that happen that also kind of emphasize why he is like an awesome character. But yeah, we can go into. I mean, really, where do you guys want to go into? You want to go into the characters? You want to go into
what's,
like?
You just hit the main points of the plot, and then we can just bounce out from there.
All right. Well, yeah, sure. How about
some more? I mean,
Claudia is introduced, and I think that's when the movie really picks up for me. I did not really enjoy this movie up until she's introduced because I was struggling. I was like, man, this is rough watching.
Yeah, up to that point,
it was just
kind of it was Lestat and Louis just kind of
they could have done
bumming around, going to it was basically Lestat trying to get Louis to forget his humanity and just become like him and just not care about anything and treat humans
there's
like
the scene with the scene at the hotel or whatever where they got the two girls or whatever.
Yep.
Like that's the big one before Claudia comes about, and that kind of drives the creation.
I didn't mind that scene,
Claudia or whatever, where he's drinking from the ladies of the night, we'll say. Lestat is, and he's trying to get Louis because Louis like I don't know if he's still eating rats then or whatever, and he pours the wine from the chick's wrist and makes him drink, or tries to get him to drink it and stuff like that. But there's a big argue about humanity basically in there, and Louis gives the speech about how he doesn't want to kill, and Lestat's given the speech about how we're better than them. Like why the fuck do we care? Like we're better than them anyway. So that's a big one going into the Claudia thing where. Louis finally breaks down. He doesn't want to kill prostitutes or anything like that, or random homeless people. But then he finds the little girl, whose mom is basically dead and dad is basically gone and dead. So I'm assuming that in his mind he thought that she would be dead anyways, more or less. So he's doing her a favor by killing her, and then Lestat shows up. Laughs at him. Louis goes running away and eats rats for a little while. Lestat goes and finds him, turns her. They live as a happy vampire family for a while.
For like 30 years.
I know, it's weird because they're like, they're teaching her how to be a vampire, and it's funny because like she's more ruthless than she's more ruthless than Louis for sure. But
Lestat.
She's like Lestat's pupil.
Yes, she was because of her age And as a child, as we know, like children just don't have discipline or patience. So
She's very
imagine being
impressionable on the stat, you know.
yeah.
She was like 11 years old when she turned, or 12, something like that. So it's crazy.
Yeah. So he's childish too in his own way. So the two of them together were a horrible duo, and obviously Louis had issues for sure, which is what makes his character. But yeah, the way he handles and witnesses and behaves is kind of what drives his character for sure. The movie gets better as it goes along, though. This is weird. Like, this movie, to me, was, I'm having a hard time. And then when she's introduced, it really brings out who we're watching, and the decisions they make sense. Even her, too. Like, she even grows as a character.
Well, it's weird because she grows mentally. She doesn't grow physically, which ends up
yes
causing some...
Yeah, because we learned that
causing some strife.
She came and cut her hair. She cuts her hair short, and then it grows right back. She's like, you are eternally stuck looking like this.
Which is kind of a rough place. That's why you don't make vampires that young. But I guess if you want me to rip...
Well, that's one of the rules,
the rest of the...
Yeah, go ahead. So they got her. Well, that's even weird, too, because, again, Brad Pitt's character, Louis, he can never go the final step, which is, like, bring them almost to death, and then you can... leave them to die or kill them, or you can convert them, right? You just got to be careful who you convert with. And he, for some reason, out of emotion, he almost kills her. He thinks he killed her because she's going to slowly probably like die on the streets anyway. So he thought he was like putting her out of her misery. But then Tom Cruise is like hanging out, and he's like, we're drifting apart. We're not really seeing eye to eye, and I can't really connect with him. But maybe on an emotional level, I can get him to stay by giving him a companion. So
it's exactly the same thing when two people are in a troubled marriage and they try to have a kid.
I was thinking about that,
and it just doesn't work.
Oh,
my two dads.
So Lestat's the mom, right?
Exactly.
Lestat or something like
wants
that.
to have a
doesn't
kid.
have to be the mom, but yeah.
Yep. And they decide to get pregnant, and it works for a while, but then things go downhill pretty quickly.
She realizes that basically Lestat is never going to let Louis go, more or less. So,
exactly,
in her own in her own fucked up way, this is one of my favorite scenes of the movie too. Is when she betrays Lestat, and she finds two twins that he knows, like he'll, that's just like a thing. Like, oh, I get to eat twins tonight. Like, he'll be into it. Mm-hmm. She poisons them with something that specifically keeps their blood warm. And apparently vampires cannot drink after the heart has stopped. I don't know why that's a bad thing.
Well, hold on a second. You skipped some... Well, hold on a second, though. You skipped something. So,
sure.
The big... Halfway into the movie, this is where the switch is, because she is his pupil, Lestat's pupil, but then she sees a woman... and she yearns to be a woman, but she's eternally trapped as a child.
She realizes,
and she struggles. She's like,
that she's never going to
wow,
get that.
I've never even thought about this, but I should be that, and I want to be that really bad. And she even like kind of captures like her or something like that and brings her dead. But she like wants to be her so bad that she kills the woman and leaves the corpse in her body. And there's like certain rules that she keeps breaking. She's just
eating the help. She's
so young, and the way she became a vampire, is so different than others, and we'll learn that later. But she's killing. Yeah, like the rule, you don't do it at home. You don't take a human to your house and then kill them at your house. And she keeps doing it. She kills this woman. She brings her into like a bedroom and lays her in the bed, and she's buried under all these like dolls, because she has like hundreds of years of dolls and stuff like that. And anyways, you see this struggle where she starts to have resentment to Lestat for what she's done to him. And she has this really great moment, a really impressive scene where she like explodes when she cuts her hair.
That's fantastic.
She wants to change and she can't. And the hair comes back. It's this big head of curly hair. And she's just like, who did it? Which one of you did it? Who did it? The way she screams, it's like, oh my God, this is like a grown-ass woman. But it's like, duh, she's not a child. This isn't a grown-ass woman. She's like almost 40 years old at this scene. And she's extremely mad. I thought that was really incredible. So that's when the movie really, like, for me, went from like, I don't know, it just went from another level. And I really appreciated what I was watching, because from then on, that's where the movie kind of took off, the story takes off, and she goes to Louis' side, and then she starts scheming. But we'll get into that, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, you kind of gloss over it, but I just couldn't.
No, that is a great scene too, because she kind of steals the show there with just her performance, more or less.
Yeah, incredible.
Especially out of a kid that's, I don't know how old she was, probably 10 or 11 at the time.
Yeah. And they were like showing how she's like so likable, and she crawls into bed. She tries to even be like her own independent woman, but she keeps crawling in bed with Brad Pitt. Yeah, and it's just like like those two have such a bond, because they both are. He made both of them, so they're kind of like not brother or sister, because he sees her as his daughter, but still, like, he takes care of her, and I don't know. It's a cool it's a weird relationship, but it works.
Yeah, it is weird,
but it really starts working at this point of the movie.
She did win, or she got nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress that year at 10 or 11.
Okay,
for just this movie, which is
impressive.
Awesome. So
that's just to get the nominated.
Super impressive.
Yeah, as Louis and Claudia grow closer, they grow further away from Lestat at that point, and they're kind of trying to. I mean, the resentment grows to Lestat for because he's the one that turned them both, and kind of seems like they both didn't really want it in the first place, but they, I mean, Brad Pitt was, his character was given a choice, but he realizes that that's not really what he wanted. He never wanted it. So the resentment for Lestat grows with both of them, and they kind of come up with this plot.
But he's a jerk.
She did. She did. Louis didn't. I was going to say.
She did. That's true.
Yeah, he never could. He still can't kill. He's got the morality. He still thinks that, like, killing is bad. We really shouldn't kill people. Really shouldn't do it. And even if it is Lestat, like, I can't. He is my master. I respect, like, the life he's given me. Like, he gets all of it, and that's again what all these things that he witnesses. He always has a stance. He always kind of takes the high road, kind of thing. But she's like, no. She's a schemer. She's naughty. She's dangerous.
She has been a naughty girl. We get to that scene, I guess.
Oh yeah.
She ends up off as a peace offering the twins that I mentioned, with who she poisoned with, I forget what it was, that keeps their blood warm. So
yep.
She plays it innocent. She goes to offer Lestat, these two twins as a peace offering, and which obviously they're both dead. So apparently that has ill effects on the vampires. He was like sick or struggling yeah. And so what does she do? She just pulls his head back and slits his throat, and there's just a massive amount of blood all over as Lestat is on the ground, which I saw a little fact on that. After she cuts the throat, that's an animatronic Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise there. That is not the actor in makeup, which I thought was kind of
impressive.
Crazy.
It's a quick scene, but that's cool.
Yeah. So then basically they go dump him into a swamp. They wrap him up, throw him in a swamp. You see an alligator come over to eat him.
Yep.
Yeah, and they go back. I mean, they go back and they start packing up to move out. They're going to go to Europe, basically, to go try and find some of the other vampires, figure out where they came from, all that kind of stuff. Another cooler scene of the movie is, a knock at the door and no one's there. Oh. And all of a sudden, creepy Swamp Thing, Tom Cruise, Lestat pops up. Because basically, you can't kill a vampire like that. There's only a few things that can kill vampires.
If you look at that scene, there's blood when the alligator gets to his body, when they dump the body.
Yes.
And you're supposed to believe that he's being eaten alive by, or whatever, or eaten by the alligator or whatever. Clearly, he ate it. Even though he's above eating animals, I think to live, he ate that thing enough to get his power, because, you can come back to life if you get the blood. And that
was a cool scene, though. Like
creepy as hell,
where he's playing the piano and he's behind the curtain, and the camera's slowly panning, and you're waiting for the wind to blow the curtain down so you can see the makeup. He looks like he was straight out of Thriller. Like he was,
I know.
he was not looking good, but he was ready to murder at least Claudia. I'm not sure if he was ready to murder Louis there. But he goes to attack her. Louis throws a what is it, an oil lamp or whatever at his feet, and he goes up in flames.
Yep.
There's a lot of good fires in this movie. I want to give a shout out to the film crew because there's at least 3 buildings burning down throughout this movie.
Say they literally set in the entirety of New Orleans on fire with that one throw of the oil lamp.
That was a bit absurd, but I still appreciated it for the story. But I thought it was cool too. The stunt man that was lit up on fire when Tom Cruise's character's on fire, he like starts running up around the scene because he's a vampire. They defy gravity when they want to, apparently, and he just runs up the ceiling a little bit. I thought that was a cool shot. Like, I don't know, it's just like wow, I've never seen a man run on the ceiling while he's on fire. I guess a vampire would do that.
I thought that was cool though too, because if you know, I noticed that during that scene is because the flames obviously go up, but he was crawling on the ceiling, but the flames were still going up, so it wasn't a camera trick where they were like flipping the set upside down or something like that, because the flames would be going against gravity that way. I don't know, it's just a cool camera trick. I'm not quite sure.
I noticed that too. And I kind of first in the moment I was like, well, how are they doing that? But then at this point the movie's really become not an action movie, but it goes from like a romance kind of bromance kind of thing going on to this like interesting drama with her to let's kill him. And then the dude's on fire running up on the ceiling. The whole town goes up in flames and they're like, we're waiting any second for him to come out of the ocean or the sea and like attack us. And he's very like haunting. He's very dangerous as a vampire.
I was going to say, how many times can he come back to life throughout this movie? Because he comes back quite a few times. They think he's dead.
There's only a few ways to kill a vampire, apparently. And cutting off their head seems to work pretty well. Cutting them in half seems to work pretty well.
But apparently not fire?
Not fire.
They're flammable, though. Like, it doesn't take much for you to go up in flames if you're a vampire, I noticed.
It could have been the oil. It could have been They were like these floofy, like, French pirate shirts with the big ruffles. I bet you those go up pretty quick.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, back then, you wore a lot of perfume because you probably stank. So
that's true.
Everyone's like ready to go up in flames.
Oh, man. But, let's see.
But anyways, yeah. So at this point, though, so they kill him. They run away. They go to Europe and they bump into some weird vampire. What was that guy?
Yeah, that was a weird scene.
It's like
I did not like that scene.
It was creepy theater vampires. But he was like the head. Yeah. He was the head theater vampire.
But Louis was like, I don't like this. I wait so long to meet another one of us, and this is what I encounter.
A fucking vampire clown.
I was like, yeah, I'm with you. Screw that guy.
Yeah, that was a little rough. But he invites them to the theater, basically, and then they go to the theater and they see all of the vampires, basically, at the theater doing like a live performance, and eventually, like, Armand comes out, which is Antonio Banderas. And
you meet him the night of the other vampire too, because he's like, is it come and all this stuff. And
is it me or can you not stop looking at his wig? Like the hair on Antonio Banderas, like it did not look legit to me. It looked like a dude with a regular haircut that just plugged in hair extensions.
I didn't mind him as much as like Tom. I thought Tom Cruise's wig was extremely distracting, or maybe Tom Cruise should not have blonde hair. I don't know. And then like looking at Brad Pitt, and he's a gorgeous man. He's a beautiful man, but it's just like even him was just like, man, what's with this hair? Is that real hair? It could be real hair, but I don't know. I had to kind of tune out the hair because it's very distracting for me.
Tom didn't bother me. It was just the Antonio that threw me off. And I mean,
okay. All right.
Brad Pitt looked like normal long dude hair, but
what did you think of Antonio Banderas' character? I forget his name actually, but
Armand.
Yeah. What did you think of his character?
I mean, he was kind of cool because he was like the silent type, and he had this whole brood of like vampires that basically followed him. I'm assuming that he kind of created all of them. And it was just
he's the oldest. He says, yeah. And
well, until the Queen of the Damned books, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know if he made Lestat. That was the one thing that I was kind of curious about during a lot of those Armand scenes. It's like, is he the one that made Lestat? And that's why they know each other, because you do eventually. He knows.
He said that.
He knows where he came
I thought
from.
that was a little bit implied. That's kind of what I got from that.
He said, "I knew him enough to know I don't like him," or something like that. Because
that he won't be. Yeah, he won't be missed
Armand,
when he's gone. He won't be mourned.
Armand is old as shit, and he. I think he's an interesting character because he sees Brad Pitt as this new version of vampires, because he's so old that he has no memory of being a human or morality, but he does know that he doesn't like this version of vampires that he's with right now. And even though he created them, he's like, they're aimless. They're just being vampires to be vampires, and
they're kind of clowns. They got nothing to them except
they're just jackasses.
There's no depth to them, really. They're just like,
Yeah, and it bores him, right? Because if you're living forever, you're gonna get bored eventually, and he gets bored. But he sees Brad Pitt, just like, Lestat, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not boring. He's interesting. Like Lestat even says, the things that you do that anger me make me love you more. Like you're the most perfect version of a vampire, because you're a vampire. We all are. But you have this thing about you that makes you struggle about being a vampire, and it brings the best out of everybody, out of vampires, I guess. And that's why I thought, like, in his character, Armand or whatever, Armand, right? He sees this instantly with him, and he's like, yes, I need this is the version of vampire I need to be around, This is the one I need to support.
And Claudia kind of knows that he wants a bromance. Like, he wants to... I don't really know what these vampires do all day, because... Like, there's no TV or anything back then. Do they just, like, sit around and just talk about stuff all day? Like, I don't know what these vampires do with all their time, considering they have no jobs and they can just take money from anybody they want. I don't know.
That's why they formed this whole theater trope thing, because they were bored.
Working on their dance routines.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, I guess eventually it comes out that over there they do not approve of making a vampire so young. So they kind of look at Claudia as kind of an abomination, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And Claudia knows that Louis is going to leave.
I was going to say, they also disapprove of killing their own kind as well. So that was another knock against them.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't actually ever mention, like... They don't admit to killing it until Armand says something about, like, Lestat won't be missed or whatever. But I don't know if the other group knew it, or they just don't like her because she was
Louis
too young.
goes ask him, and he goes, "Do I have to worry about her?" And he says, "Yes, I don't really care, but they will. They have a stigma against that." And he basically said she's in danger.
More or less. So, I mean, they're gonna bolt... Louis and Claudia, and basically Armand's crew shows up, jacks them. Well, I guess to back up just a minute before, Claudia makes Louis turn a mother figure, I guess you should say, into a vampire. So when Louis leaves, she won't be left alone to fend for herself, basically, and that's kind of a turning point for Louis, I guess, as well, because he's never turned anybody, and the only reason he's doing it is because he feels, I'm assuming he feels guilt for abandoning her and or making her too young, or I guess, like, because, to get back that side of resentment that she's showing towards him for her being a vampire. So it was like it's a whole bunch of give and take there, but that was kind of a weird and crazy scene. And that's when Armand's crew, like, right after she turns, basically. Like, she's...
Yeah, right after.
Yeah, they show up and they drag him off. They basically sentence Claudia and the new mother figure. I don't know if she even had a name or whatever, but she's all down with the vampire crew. But death by sunlight for
bad
those
timing
two.
to be a vampire for that woman.
Yeah.
Right.
And crazy... crazy coffin with locks on it that they put Brad Pitt upside down in and Count of Monte Cristo him behind a wall. And you see Armand kind of like, he hears everything that's going on, so he knows, that he knows.
He knew, but I think knew. We can let's get into that after. Go ahead, Dave. Finish the scene because so he got like Brad Pitt's character is basically put into a brick wall in a coffin that's locked up upside down, basically to say, well, you can't really die, so enjoy eternity like this, and it's fucking horrible.
Be stuck in here forever.
Pretty brutal.
And they take Claudia and her new mom, like kind of.
The death by sunlight scene is pretty rough.
Into a open, it's like a well room. It's like this big circular room.
It's like a dungeon.
And they lock the door with an open roof, and the sun shows up. And what do you think happens?
Nothing good for them.
Death. Yeah.
But they didn't realize that was coming. Like, I would have tried to get out at some point or crawl up the walls and try and break something. I don't know. They just went to bed. They're like, oh, it's nighttime. I'm going to go to sleep for a little while. And then they wake up and it's daytime and you're fucked. So I don't know. That was the whole thing. And then conveniently,
is that what happened? I'm trying to remember. Okay.
Yeah. They kind of like woke up and as the sun was coming up, they kind of, I guess.
See, some vampires can fucking fly. Why wouldn't they fly out, right? Like every vampire has their own ability, I guess.
Well, there were bars there too. I would assume that they would have been able to, rip bars out or punch stone or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mentioned it before, but the rules for these vampires are, different than what we've seen before in other vampire lore. Like, they just kind of throw out the the whole crucifix, whatever, garlic, stake through the heart.
Stake through the heart, yeah.
All that stuff.
They cut that out early. That's funny.
They're like, yep, that's complete bullshit. That doesn't.
Well, hold on,
doesn't a thing.
Louis tell the interviewer like in the beginning, like you can't go out in the sun? It's like, oh,
that's right.
Go out in the sun, and we become quite fond of it, but they can't go out in the sun. Why did he say that?
I was thinking about that too,
or is he saying that you don't like it? It's like, oh, we like it, we love it, we just can't go in it. Was that maybe the comment? I don't know. I heard that in the beginning, and it threw me off a little bit. Or maybe some of them can go in the sun a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they can't be true. They can't be true.
They don't sparkle, that's for sure.
Well, Louis mentions
Claudia and her mom. Yeah, doesn't look like they can.
No, they couldn't. They did not like the sun, that's for sure.
No, they turned into ash. For sure.
Louis mentions that he misses this. He mentions that he this when he was before he was turned into a vampire. Like, oh, this is the last sunrise that I ever saw, or whatever. So maybe he just misses the sun
watching
because he can't go out anymore.
Yeah, he said because he knows what it's like to be human, and he says, I remember watching the sun the last time like it was the first time I've ever seen it, because he's appreciating it, because you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone, and that's what he's saying. Yep. Which is really cool, because later on he goes to the movie theater and he's like, man, I can see the sun again because of movies. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was fun.
That was crazy.
But yeah, I mean, that sucked. Like, Claudia and her new mommy, they get basically killed off real quick, and the movie's moving really fast at this point, and Louis gets saved by Armand, and he's like, I couldn't save her, but I could save you, but I had to, and he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna fucking get revenge on these. He's like, I won't stop you if you do. And they let him leave for some reason. I don't understand. They kind of, it's really weird, right? Like, they knew they didn't stop Armand. They just wanted, you're gonna be in this wall for eternity. But then it was really like, we're gonna kill her off, these two off, so that Armand can break you out of the wall, and we'll just let you walk out of here. Because what does he do? He gets a bunch of kerosene or something and comes back and fills up the place.
I thought that was weird.
Yeah, so I think it was all Armand's
scythe.
I think it was
all Armand's plan.
Oh yeah, it was Armand's plan.
I
think Armand wanted Louis all to himself, because, like you're saying, he saw something different in Louis, and I feel like throughout the movie it's a theme that all these vampires are just looking for companionship, because they have eternity. Yeah, they're bored. They have basically eternity of living, so they want someone to spend it with, and they want that someone to be a vampire to spend all eternity with them. And Armand
An
saw
interesting
something in
vampire.
Louis that, Armand saw something in Louis that he hadn't seen in any other vampire. So he kind of just wanted him all to himself by getting Claudia out of the way. And, it didn't work out for him in the end, but I think that was kind of orchestrated by Armand from the beginning.
Right, which was pretty badass, though, when he shows up and he has to actually fight some of them. It's cutting heads off, cutting people in half. He fucks them up.
Fucked them up good.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It would have been cool to have one more scene that was more action like that, but I know that's not the kind of movie this was, but I was impressed. I was like, oh, wow.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. And then he goes and meets Armand, and then Armand's like, yeah, all that, I could have had more control over all of this, but I had everybody killed off so I could be with you. And Louis was like, I'm not stupid. This is what, like, Lestat did. It's just like, you'll do anything to keep me around you. And it's just, I can't get behind that. I'm better off just like not being around your kind. And then he's like, when he knows that Armand knows more about the history of being a vampire, but still Louis like, what you're willing to do, I just can't vibe with. I'll just figure out on my own, or I'll find maybe other vampires that are older than you that I could learn from, but you're not a good person. And he starts crying because he's telling Christian Slater's character, the journalist, and he cries. He's like, yeah, I only cry when I think about her, because he loved her. It was like, like it was his daughter, of some sort. So he had a special connection to the Claudia character, and Armand used her to get to him, and he's just like, I can't be with you, And then it gets into that final, I guess, scene, right? Where, surprise, Lestat's still alive.
No.
Right.
No, before you
What?
get there, Louis goes back to America, ditches Armand over there, wanders around for a little bit, and I guess he finds the house where Lestat is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he goes to the movies
because
he sees his son, and he's
smell
like,
death.
this is an interesting time. And then he smells Lestat, and he goes, like, I know that smell. It's a vampire. And then he goes and he finds him, and Lestat is like, I don't know, he's a shell of who he was at the time. At this point, he's kind of been in the dark, hiding.
I know it's
something.
a movie,
So
it's
been it's been a long ass time.
How is
Yes.
this house still like standing the same way, like burned out the same way it was back when, they left it, whatever, like 100 years ago?
I don't know if it was I don't think it was the same house.
It was the same. Yeah, it was the same house that they built together. Yeah. The same house where
I thought it was
Claudia
just
and
some
Lestat
other-
and Louis were all living together.
If you can accept that vampires exist,
Yeah, who's paying the taxes?
then you can accept that house exists. But anyways, yeah, he goes back, and it's kind of a creepy scene. It's like a final goodbye, or I guess.
You can see that he's been like eating rats and birds and stuff like that. Like, and the one thing I question is like how his like a human or like any random hobo or anything not come across where he could just like pounce on them, drink their blood, be back to like normal Lestat, and be out doing your Lestat stuff. Like,
How did he get to the United States in that state? I know. It's just like,
Lestat was always in New Orleans.
oh, duh, that's right. Oh,
And-
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, and he went to Europe and came back, and like,
Yep.
That's
same
right, 'cause that
house,
reminds
but
me
guy.
it was like
Yeah.
it had to have been decades later.
well, that reminds me of the scene when,
Like,
when Brad Pitt and Claudia, like Leo and Claudia, have to take a ship to Europe, and they're like, oh man, fortunate for the humans, like they had no rats on this boat, so we had to start eating people over time. And people kept having this plague. They kept picking off people, but like they were completely immune to it. And I thought that was like a funny narrated scene. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was a good scene.
There was a sickness on the
Dark
on the
humor.
ship, but surprisingly, they were the only two that lived. So, well, not only two, but yeah, the Lestat thing was a little weird because he's like talking to him, and you can tell that Louis feels bad for him and is kind of like pitying on him. And then like all of a sudden, out of like a weird thing, like a helicopter flies by and shines the light in the window.
Why the hell
I thought
is
that
there
was
a,
so weird. It was
a
random.
helicopter?
He thinks that
It was so fucking random.
I don't know. and it's shining a light in the window, and like it's like he's never seen light before, but he's been living in this city for decades now while Louis was over in Europe. So like that didn't make any sense to me. That was a weird.
That was one of the most baffling scenes in the movie. I was like, what is happening?
I'm sure the books probably get more into it as to like maybe he was in a grave for like the last 30 years and dug himself out, and because he said he was eating like snakes and worms and all sorts of stuff like that. So that could be part of it, but yeah, Louis kind of feels bad for him and just leaves him there. Basically, he's like, "All right, you.
Yep.
I'm not going to hang out with you. Our bromance is not back on. I'm going to go do my own thing. Peace out." And then, I think after that, that's when we go back to the interview.
Back to present day. Yep.
Brad Pitt's he's sad and still melancholy, and Christian Slater's like, "No, that's fucking awesome. Your story's not done. Turn me into a vampire."
Right.
And yeah, Louis is not having that shit, and kind of like chokes him, says you're being a dumbass, and then bounces more or less. Christian Slater is scared shitless. He grabs all his stuff, grabs all his stuff, his little cool tape recorder, hops in his red convertible, goes taking off across the San Francisco Bridge. I think it's the Golden Gate.
Golden Gate. Yep.
And he's like pops in the tape to make sure he wasn't like hallucinating, and he's listening to Louis do his thing, and then that's when
shows up.
You think the movie's gonna be over, and then boom, Lestat pops up and gives him the old bite, sucks some good old fashioned human blood out of him, and then he turns back into normal Lestat again all of a sudden, and he knows how to drive, and he's cool.
Dude,
I don't.
A scene or two ago, he was just scared of a helicopter.
Yeah, I know. That movie ends
that last
very
scene
rough.
Was just dumb.
It starts rough and ends rough for sure. But the second and third, and almost the final act, up until the final act, is solid. But yeah, there's like I felt like whatever. I
felt like at the end they just wanted like a stinger, like, oh shit, look at this, and like they just had Lestat pop up. Like, I mean, I have no idea, obviously, what happens in the books. I've never read them, but I can't imagine that's the same way the book ends.
I just want to know why that helicopter, like, just came out of nowhere. I want to know why a helicopter came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And look, it's not like a normal behavior of a helicopter to just shine out of the
shine a light into a window. Yeah, that was just so random.
And then leave.
Weird.
Yeah, that was the book does not. I think I have a synopsis of the end of the book. If you guys would like to hear this from Schmoop.
I mean, sure, we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's the literary summary. So basically, everything looked like it was pretty much the same up until Louis murders everybody at the church, and then when he goes back to America, Louis and Armand come back to America together. Armand tells Louis that Lestat did not die in the fire. I don't know how he knows that, but in fact he happens to live back in New Orleans. Imagine that. He goes and sees him. Lestat is pathetic, feels sorry for him. Armand admits that he is the one that killed Claudia, which he already kind of knows in the movie. He also admits that he thinks Louis is dead inside. He no longer possesses the drama and fire that used to drive him. Louis like, yeah, pretty much, and Armand leaves him. The end. That's the end of Louis' story. When he's done, the interviewer asks to be made a vampire, same as the movie. Louis thinks this is a terrible idea, so he bites him and leaves him for dead there. But naturally, the interviewer doesn't die. When he wakes up, he goes through the tapes, finds detailed descriptions of where Lestat lives, and he packs up and goes off to meet yet another vampire.
That would have been better.
Oh, yeah, I would have liked that a lot better.
So they switch it up.
Just randomly showing up in his car.
They switched it up a little bit on that. Well, because technically he leaves Louis in. Well, I'm just having this thought right now. He leaves Louis in New Orleans, but he's getting interviewed in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So Lestat would have had to gone from New Orleans all the way to San Francisco while still looking like a swamp thing and still not eating another person to like bring his fervor and vampire youth back. So that's
I'm
just
assuming after Louis visited Lestat at the mansion or whatever that Lestat decided to track Louis down and follow him back to wherever he was going. But it was just obviously dumb timing and whatever made it for the movie.
Clunky.
Where Lestat just happened to be there at the end with Christian Slater's character. So whatever.
But knowing that Lestat doesn't give a fuck about killing a human, like he would have obviously at his first opportunity just grabbed some hobo, drank their blood, and been back to his normal self and track it. So I don't know. There was a little weird stuff there, but I just thought that the change up on the ending of that was kind of interesting, the way that they switched it. But it seems like for the most part, everything is pretty much straight from the books.
So I just want to ask you guys, when it comes to vampires, where does this land for you guys when it comes to vampire content? Because there's Blade, there's Dusk Till Dawn, there's Castlevania, Twilight, True Blood. You know, I mean, overall, when it comes to vampires, when you're in the mood for vampires, if somebody's listening to this and it's like, man, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, and they just talked about it, what do you guys think? Do you think this is something that people should check out if you're into vampires? Or how? I enjoyed this movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It starts off slow and it ends clunky. But I guess it's better than most vampire content.
This movie came out in 94, so I was, 14 when it came out. So like my vampire stuff up until then was mainly, I guess, the Castlevania games, or because there wasn't a lot of vampire content. Yeah, Lost Boys. I haven't seen that in so long that I don't know how well that would even hold up, like compared to something like this. So, this was a lot of like the rules and the grounding for vampires came from this one. And it's weird because the movie doesn't have a ton of action in it. It's a lot of narration. It's a lot of like acting. It's a lot of like set scenes. Like it covers like, what is it like to be a vampire? And like, what is a vampire's feelings and like that kind of stuff. Like the day to day, I guess day to day, but they skip decades in this movie constantly. But there's a lot of talk about the morality of being vampire and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I've seen Blade. I have not seen True Blood, which is probably another hole that I should
Sexy
fill at
vampires.
some point. But is it? Well, that one they have like fake blood in that one that they drink and stuff like that.
I heard the TV shows. So here's the thing. I've heard that those shows are like from another era. They're not good. Like Buffy and all that shit. Like, I don't think they're for you guys. You could check it out, but I've seen a couple episodes. It's like, this is horrible. But it might not. It might not be for me. I might go look at my vampires.
I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I've seen the majority of the Vampire Diaries and actually really enjoyed it. It's that that CW show.
What did you enjoy about it?
I don't know. It was just a good story. I liked I don't know, the backstories of all the different characters and everything, and like. It's a lot. I mean, it's typical like CW show. Like it's very like whatever teen drama, like romance type stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds
There's
horrible.
something about it that I like.
Okay, well, no, I mean, like if you're into that shit though, then it might be interesting to check that out. If you're into like teen drama, I guess.
There's a lot of that.
Dude, whatever.
I don't.
The vampire rules are different.
It's a lot of that stuff. It's I don't know. I want to say
they going to school. They probably can go out in the sun.
They are going to high school. They can go out in the sun. You're right.
Oh my god!
It's more in the Twilight vein, but not quite that cheesy. But I don't know. I liked it for the time. I watched it like a while ago, so maybe I would feel differently now. But I don't know. As far as vampire content goes, I haven't seen a like a ton. Like I've seen Blade, like a long time ago when I was a kid. Dracula 2000. Have you guys seen that one?
Oh God,
Gerard
yes.
Butler movie.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one.
Sounds interesting already.
It was not good.
Nosferatu, classic, like original.
Oh, I've seen scenes of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as from what I've seen, I feel like this movie would rank on like the higher end of the spectrum. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I did like about this movie. There's some weird stuff, some dumb stuff like the ending and stuff like that. But overall, I definitely enjoyed watching it. Like you said, Brandon, it was kind of like a bell curve. Like it started out slow and not that great. It got really good towards the middle and then kind of ended on a flatter note. So,
didn't you say this is going to be a TV show?
There is a TV show in the works. AMC
it makes
is
sense for
producing
this. All right, it should be HBO, but
the rights,
AMC is also as good, almost as good. So
the rights changed hands a lot of times, kind of weirdly too,
Mhm.
because they put out that Queen of the Damned movie in 2002, I want to say, and Tom Cruise obviously didn't come back for that. But the one weird thing is that this is like one of Interview with the Vampire is the first of like 13 books in the Vampire Chronicles.
Okay, so they definitely can make a TV series, a good TV series with this content.
So Queen of the Damned is, the third book of the series. But I believe it's supposed to come out in the next year or two.
Okay, I would love, dude. All right, so like I told you guys before, I watched AMC's production of the show, The Terror, and the quality of the set and the props and the acting was extremely good. So I think AMC has the capabilities to make something good. I'm not looking at like Walking Dead, like they kind of lost their way with that shit. But I think they have they did Breaking Bad and all that stuff too. So AMC, while I wish it was HBO, I think they could pull off a really good.
It's a good fit.
Vampire show.
You look at Walking Dead though; it's not like the story fell off, but like the production quality.
Oh yeah,
like
the budget is there.
The amount of
sure.
the amount
That's
of
a good point.
Makeup work and zombie fake blood and fake gore and all sorts of like practical effects like that. Like that shit has always been pretty top notch coming from them. So I'd be interested in seeing what comes out of it.
Speaking of special effects, I was just looking this up before the show too. The special effects in this movie were done by Stan Winston. I don't know if that name sounds familiar to you, Brandon, but he was responsible for Jurassic Park and Terminator 2.
Oh shit!
Okay, all right, because I knew like when Lestat gets sliced in the cheeks by Claudia, and then they heal instantly in front. That was CG, and I was like, wow, that aged really well. Like the CG was very, very rare. I only recognized
very
like
little.
2 or 3 scenes. Very little, yeah. Because I know you made a comment about the practical effects before we recorded, Dave. And it's like, yeah, they did definitely lean on that a lot, like a lot of makeup.
I was gonna say it said it was mostly makeup effects, and this was an interesting thing. The actors were required to hang upside down for 30 minutes so that the blood would rush to their heads and cause their veins to protrude, enabling the makeup artists to trace realistic patterns.
Oh,
which is insane. Like
like the translucent
every time you go to put your
skin
makeup
look
on
the vampires was really cool. Yeah, you gotta hang upside down for 30 minutes.
You gotta go hang upside down until your fucking makeup's done. Like, damn.
Like, it was really subtle, like when Brad Pitt and Claudia first transitioned from humans to vampires, you could see that subtle, like, obviously their faces were more pale, their veins were like colored blue and like protruding and everything. And their skin looked translucent and everything. But it was subtle, but pretty effective as far as the makeup effects go.
All right. Was there any...
A couple random little facts, though, that I just have. Just
hit me with
one thing that kind of was crazy is that River Phoenix was originally going to be the interviewer.
Oh, okay. I think I heard that.
He died like I don't know how soon into like the production of the movie, but he died and they had to recast the interviewer with Christian Slater, who ended up giving his entire salary to 2 of River Phoenix's favorite charities.
That's amazing.
And they also gave him a credit in the movie too, which was super cool. So I don't know, that was just a weird crazy fact. There's a lot of those random practical effect things that you hear about Tom Cruise where they gave him like boots with lifters on them and they put Brad Pitt in a ditch so Tom Cruise could be as tall as him and those kind of like
Tom Cruise is very short. I could tell, but the
height
angles,
faking things.
oh,
That's
the angle.
funny.
You never see Tom Cruise standing next to anybody this whole time. He's always like slouching or in the background, or he's constantly being positioned a very specific way. I noticed. Yeah, I mean he's like 5'8" or something. Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what. It was nice seeing
Yeah,
Chris.
there's a lot of little crazy things.
I
From
thought it was cool seeing
the
Christian
set.
Slater again. Like, I'm not saying he's like a great actor, but it takes me
Yeah.
to like the early to mid '90s because I remember him being in a batch of movies, and he never really like he didn't fit in. Nobody really fit into that Robin Hood movie. Like he was in that, and I was just like, all right, yeah, like this is a lot of.
This might be the only movie I've seen him in.
Oh,
He
okay.
kinda
Heathers was
disappeared after
good,
a while. He
Broken
just-
Arrow. Yeah, I don't think he's a deep actor. I'm saying I don't think he's a great actor, but I'm just saying it's nice to see because like come on, we're seeing young Tom Cruise, young Brad Pitt, young Antonio Banderas, young what's her face, but like everybody else is I don't know. I just saw him and like man, you don't see him anymore. I liked him.
A couple other little random ones I have. Oprah was so repulsed by how much blood and gore was in the film that she left the theater during the movie. Oprah couldn't take it, which is kind of funny. Some other people that were considered for the role of Claudia were Christina Ricci, Julia Stiles, and Rachel Wood, but eventually went to Kirsten Dunst, which was kind of crazy. Yeah, just random
I think
little
she
facts
killed
like
it.
that. She, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
Stole
I
the
think
show.
Yeah.
she had the best
So,
acting.
Yep,
in
one
the,
of the best child actor performances.
I mean, I think Brad Pitt was pretty monotone. I think Tom Cruise is pretty monotone. Other than when he yelled, he's got a good yell, but
Everyone, it drove me crazy that everyone was whispering this whole goddamn movie. I could barely understand what they were saying.
I watched the movie with headphones, so I know. Yeah, that's a lot of movies. A lot of people, if you notice, a lot of people whisper and get really close when they talk. You ever see people sit down on a couch? You ever sit down right next to somebody? No. There's two couches or chair. You sit in the chair while they sit on a whole couch to themselves. You don't sit your ass right next to it. Watch a movie, watch a TV show. What do they fucking do? Sit right next to it like they've been fucking living with each other for their whole life. I mean, it's like, was this your spouse? Like, what are you doing?
It's true.
People get really close. Like when Brad Pitt and Antonio Banderas were like saying their final goodbye in the movie, I was like, is
That was some close ass talking.
Brad Pitt gonna kiss Antonio Banderas? I was like, I don't know. I just gotta be ready for this because, like, okay, all right, are they gonna kiss? But no, he just like says something, but he's like so close. I was like, man,
Breaking my
I'm
heart.
sure women
broke
loved
my
it.
heart, Fredo.
I'm sure women loved it in the 90s. Like, ooh wee. Yeah.
Couldn't stop looking at that wig. That wig was the brutal.
It wasn't the white makeup on their skin that bothers you. It was the wig.
No, that was Antonio's wig, but
All right.
we'll see.
Closing comments on vampires because I want to be done with vampires after this for a little bit until next Halloween season.
Vampires are cool. I like this movie for the most part. Yeah, if you have any interest in vampires at all, I think this is a must watch for sure. That's all I'll
Definitely
say.
on the better side. Yeah.
Sure.
What about you, Dave?
Mhm.
Nothing too crazy. My vampires don't sparkle in the sunlight.
There you go.
That's about it.
That's
That's
all.
about
That's the only rule. Do they sparkle?
That's
No.
all you need.
I'll watch it.
it. No
I'm good with it.
sparkling, please.
Okay.
But no, it was a great movie back then. I hadn't seen it in like 20 plus years. It was cool to rewatch it now, but it aged. It shows its age, but it's still
it's not distracting.
solid vampire
it takes
movie.
place in the past
No.
for the most part,
No,
so it's
no.
not like look at the smart. Like look at them open up their flip phone. It's not like one of those movies. It takes place back in the day, and the time that does
Yeah,
take present.
with
you don't
most of
really-
it.
Yeah, Christian Slater uses like a cassette to record, but that's about it.
Yeah, like it's all based on practical effects and the actors. So the story tells itself. Some weird clunky lines in there that are here and there, but whatever. I figured they pulled those out of the book to stick in the movie. So
Yeah. The author did
Cool to see
do the
vampires.
screenplay, which is always nice
Did
to
she?
see. Yeah, I like that the author did the screenplay. Yep.
Well, they've got
Yeah, so that's nice.
Interview with the Vampire and Queen of the Damned already have movies. There's another 11 books to make your vampire movies from, so knock yourselves out.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine with the movie. Watch it, especially if you like vampires. You probably have already seen this movie. If you're kind of in or out with vampires, that you never really thought about it, but you ever get in the mood, like, oh, I want to watch some vampire shit. Yeah, you probably could watch this. Just know that the beginning is a bit slow. Kind of bromance, kind of like two dudes as vampires for a little bit, but once Claudia is introduced, Kirsten Dunst's character, it really shines, and then it ends kind of meh the last 5 minutes really. So yeah, you'll do good. And then I would recommend go to Castlevania's anime on Netflix. It's actually pretty good for an anime. I know it's a hard sell. It's anime, but Jesus Christmas, it's watchable. It's cool. It's fun if you can watch the animation. And then that's about it for vampire recommendations for me. I haven't seen Lost Boys in a long ass time to recommend that, but all right, enough with the vampires. Let's take a break, and then let's play. Hey,
Who said that?
who said that?
Hey.
Who said that?
Yeah, Eric's gonna host it. All right, let's take a break, and then we'll play. All right, we're back, and it's game time. We're gonna play a round of Hey, who said that?
Who said that?
Oh, you guys are gonna join?
I'll get in there.
You jerks!
I get it.
You guys, I only saw. Oh man, I thought you guys were gonna be silly, having a silly voice.
Nope,
after-
you're on your own for
Anyways,
that one.
Hey, who said that? All this game is basically you got to guess the movie it's from. It's not really you can tell me who the actor is or the character is, but really
Bonus points for that.
what movie is this from? And yeah, and you're gonna really bonus points.
No, bonus
Ooh.
points. No.
Oh, all right. 1 point. Oh, 1 point. But yeah, really, Eric's gonna be hosting this one. He's gonna read from like a screenplay, and he's gonna go through like what the actors are saying, and then Dave and I are gonna be like say one of our names and be like, all right, and it's Brandon, and I'll take a guess at it's Jurassic Park or whatever. Which would be funny if that's one of the choices that you have, but that's it. Other than that, those are the rules. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, are
Yes,
you ready
sir.
for this?
Born ready.
I'm glad
You said there's a theme.
There is a theme this time. No actual bonus points if you figure it out, but you'll get a nice pat on the back if you can figure it out.
Oh.
Vampires.
Well, think about the meta. I didn't make it that obvious, so not as obvious as vampires. So,
All right. Okay.
so yeah, I got 5 movies here. So if you're ready to go, I'll read the first one.
Fire away.
Yeah, let's
I'm
do
good.
it.
All right, here we go. Movie number 1. Wait, I thought all you did was kill innocent people. Innocent? Is that supposed to be funny? An obese man? A disgusting man who can barely stand up?
Dave.
Oh, nice. What is it?
7.
Oh my god!
That is 7.
7.
I thought 7 popped in my head too, and I'm like, no, it's not 7. That what part? What part is that?
It's when,
Is it in the car ride?
It's when he's telling him, probably, yeah, in the car ride on the way to
God
when
damn
he's
it,
talking
yeah.
about who he killed.
Yep. Okay. Well done. Nice, Dave.
Mhm.
Okay. I love that movie. I'm
Yep.
glad that you guys
Yeah.
have both seen that movie.
That's a
because
fantastic movie,
Perfect.
too.
I would love to see that. I haven't seen it in so long, and honestly, we should put that. I'm kind of done with horror. I'm not done with it, but like, we'll hold off on that one coming in. But that is a great movie.
I saw it once a couple years ago, and yeah, I loved it. But that's the only time I've ever seen
Okay.
it. So
It's like
I
a
would definitely
suspense.
watch it again.
Suspense
Just-
drama, not
just-
really horror, but
Yeah, for sure.
there's some fucked up stuff in that one. That one's a good one.
Very fucked up.
All right. 1-0, Dave. Yeah, I'm glad I'm hosting this one and not competing because the last 2 times I played, I got destroyed. So hosting feels good this time. All right, here we go. Movie number 2. this one's gonna get a little blue right off the bat. Just a forewarning here. But all right, here we go. Want me to suck your cock while driving? How old are you?
Dave.
What? How old? Oh,
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep. Yeah, Brad Pitt with the. Yeah.
Dave, you're right
He
on.
is a little
man.
sharper
Yeah,
than I
that's
am.
just-
Man, nice.
Sticks right in my brain.
Isn't that crazy
I mean,
though? You
how
can
many
like.
how many times?
Point number 2.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard somebody say that though? Is the real question. Like
It's true.
that kind of sticks out in my mind. It's like I haven't heard that question asked very often.
Well, hold on. What was the first movie?
It was
7.
7.
Oh, okay, I got the theme. Okay.
Well, do you? Do you? I don't know. You think
Hold
you
on,
have it?
yeah.
You think you have it?
Oh,
but
you-
you might not. You might have.
What?
You might have half of it.
Well,
All right, here we go. Movie number 3. Dave is up 2-0. So Brandon, you got to get this one, or
Hope
to
these
stay
are
in the
hope
game.
these are fun to listen to because you got through like
shut up.
1 or 2 lines in each movie and I just blurted
Right.
out. So sorry.
Okay, movie number 3. Here we go. The terminal is in a black vault lockdown. The only person allowed in the room has to pass through a series of security checks.
Brandon.
Dave,
Oh,
Or do-
Brandon, I think was first.
did you say that?
I think I'm definitely for.
I think Brandon was
ahead.
first.
Yeah, we have a delay for sure. Ocean's 11.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Dave, do you have a guess?
Ocean's 12.
No.
I don't know. No, that's immediately
no,
what I
no.
thought about with the black box lockdown, blah 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 blah. All right, continue.
Okay. The next line is blanked out. So blank. The first is a voice, print identification, and a 6-digit.
Brandon.
Oh, yes,
Mission Impossible.
that is correct.
That was my next guess. I was thinking about that too. Good job. Nice.
Okay, good job. That's
I don't know when the last time.
2-1, Dave.
I don't think I've seen that movie in like so long that I wouldn't be able to pull something from that.
That's good. All right, here we go. This is a good battle right here. All right, so movie number 3. Here we go.
4.
Oh, this is movie number 4. You're right, man. All right. All right. Here we go. So, Lieutenant, where exactly were you? Well, thank you. Started up on a 6 when he pulled from the clouds, and then I moved in above him. Well, if you were directly,
Brandon.
yes,
Spider-Man.
incorrect. Well, if you were directly above him, how could you see him? Because I was inverted. Bullshit.
Dave,
No, he was, man. Oh,
is this
yes.
Is this Top Gun?
this is Top Gun.
Hey,
All right. God damn it.
Good
So
job.
I thought the theme was like you're taking characters, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise. So you went Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise. I went Kirsten Dunst right away. I blindly guessed the last one, and I blindly guessed that this was Kirsten. I should have.
I mean,
I was like, all right, that's the theme. I'm using it.
you
I
pretty
should
much
gone
You pretty much have
with
it.
Tom Cruise movies. Yeah. God damn it. Nice, Dave. Did you know that line too?
no, not specifically, but he's talking about flying ships. I'm guessing that's
Okay.
pretty
yeah.
much. I just figured
Good one.
Yeah.
fighter pilot movie, Tom Cruise lines up nicely.
Yep.
All right, so 3-1. So officially, Dave won, but this is
Master.
for pride over here for this last one. This is movie number 5. All right, here we go. So, I need the reason. Don't say money. Why do you do this? Why not do it? Because yesterday I walked out of the joint after losing 4 years of my life, and you're
Dave.
cold decking.
Is this
Yes.
Ocean's 11?
Yeah,
This is
that's
Ocean's 11.
Okay.
Good job.
I blew it. Well done, Dave. You come
Good
out
job,
a
man.
winner.
I know who
Yeah.
said that.
I know
Dave know who said that.
I know who said that. Who said that?
I know.
Good job,
Oh,
Dave.
man. Well done.
That was very
It's the
well
one
done.
game that I'm actually good at.
Yeah, you.
All the other
crushed
ones, I'm just shooting in the dark. But
Yeah, so Brandon, you
Oh,
were.
good job.
I mean, you were basically right on. The theme was Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise movies.
Okay, I thought you were gonna get like Antonio Banderas, like Zorro's gonna be one, Spider-Man's gonna be one.
Zorro.
So which one's
That
gonna
would've
be?
been
Because
good.
I've already done 2 Brad Pitts, Yeah.
I wanted to,
Ah.
to keep you on your toes.
Oh no, that was good. I love it. I love a theme, but it also works against me sometimes because I overthink it.
Yep, that was a
That
good
was
one.
good. All right, well, that was a lot of fun. Real quick, Eric, why don't you just plug us again, and then we can get out of here.
Sure. Follow us at Twitter at Nomads of Fantasy, and also on Instagram at Nomads of Fantasy. You can email us with anything you want at nomadsoffantasy@gmail.com. You can follow us twitch.tv/nomads of fantasy if you want to see some more Symphony of the Night playthroughs and whatever else we got coming down the pipeline. I'm also getting our YouTube channel up and running with all of our episode archives up there, plus some Twitch archives and maybe some other fun surprises in the future. And yeah, that's about it.
And I've been making like artwork for the show in my spare time. Like I made the logo, right? I drew the thing. I'm a designer, so that's what I do. And I gave Eric some designs for our website, so that's in the works. We're gonna have a cool website. I think it'll be really interesting to kind of share around and stuff like that. We're making it kind of easy if you want to just kind of have something more visual to look at. Eric, I know you've been doing stuff on YouTube, so that's cool. But yeah, just I don't know how many podcasts you listen to where you have a team like us three, where we're pretty nasty with the design and code and websites and just shit in general, like branding and interaction, stuff like that, and gamers. And so yeah, so just in general, stuff will be made outside of it. Like I made illustrations for all three of us, right? I made these cute, cool ass looking little illustrations of all three of us, like I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but it's good on social. I want to make little coffee mugs and like kind of
It's our
have a
new
logo on the side.
it's our new Twitter banner is those illustrations of us, so check that out.
Yeah, so check it out. It's like a Pet Boys kind of thing with the three heads or something, or I don't know. But yeah, so we'll just be making our own stuff. I know a lot of people kind of go to, I don't know, Canva or some template and they just kind of make artwork for their show. Our stuff is made by us, unless we find like a gorgeous illustration like from other artists, which we try to tag the people who made it in our post and say like, hey, this is our topic, this is who made it, by the way, this is really cool artwork. Not endorsed at all, involved with the show, but I like to put that out there. But anything else that's for the show, that's gonna be like yours truly.
It's homegrown farm
like,
fresh artwork over here by Brandon.
Yeah, but you guys are going on Twitch and playing games and making content over there, so I just want to, whatever. I'm the designer of the crew, but I probably won't be on Twitch much, but I know you two do that. So, but the Nomads are constantly doing stuff off of the air, so there's just cool things going on. All right.
Cool.
Let's get out of here. Yeah. Dave, do you have anything you want to say? I know you're like, nah, I think I'm pretty good. Just play more games. I'm caught up.
No, just to try and start catching up on Resident Evil and get the scary games out of the way before Halloween hits. That's about it.
I was gonna say we only have 3 weeks left to play Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, it's coming sooner than later.
I'm probably gonna have to play it just this weekend because I'm gonna be in Disney in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I need to do it. Also, Dave wanted to do Dune, and I'm challenging that. I really want to do like The Lighthouse.
We'll see what happens. I wouldn't mind watching Lighthouse too.
It's just because it's a newer movie. We've been watching a lot of classics or oldies or holes, right? And this is a more recent movie. It's horror-esque. It's not like jolly whatever, but it's not scary or anything like that. You won't look away ever in this movie. I think it'll make good conversation. So if anybody is watching or listening to us actively as we put out the episodes, if you want to be ready for the next one, please watch The Lighthouse. It's on Amazon Prime right now at the time of recording this. So go watch it. And if you can, like, we'll probably put a post out saying like, hey, we're going to record, make a comment. We'll read it on the show. And I think you guys will have a great time. You'll have stuff to say about this movie. The production, the movie itself, the acting, the visuals, there's so much. So I'm pushing for that, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Sweet.
All right, now I'm letting you guys get off. Go, what's that, Dave?
No, that sounds good. I'm ready. I'm ready for anything new.
All right.
Without vampires in it. Sure.
No more vampires.
Yeah, there's no vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no vampires in this next movie. Yeah, for sure. Okay, all right, let's get out of here. I'll see you
See
guys.
you.
Bye, Jess.
Bye, Jess. Number one fan